And welcome inside the Backstage Pass, KKTC True Country 99.9. Of course, our friends out there, hightidecountry.net. And of course, 250,000 listeners at that very website last year. And High Tide Country, appreciate you guys listening in to one of the largest independent music stations in Oklahoma City. Thanks to all our sponsors out there, too. And pleased to welcome in my featured artist of the day. We played Pretty Good Living this morning. And I tell you what, for you guys out there that haven't heard it, just tune in. It's going to make you feel something. It's going to touch you as it touched me. Pretty Good Living across all the streaming platforms. We hadn't connected in about 2 years, but so good to have her back. Sarahbeth Taite here on the Backstage Pass. What's going on?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, good to have you here too. Well, let's kind of start with that too, because I know it'd been a minute since we had chatted, but also too since that single hit there just a few weeks ago. How excited were you to get a terrific song into your fans' hands once again?
Oh my gosh, I was so excited. It had been a year and a half since I had put a song out into the world and released anything. So it really is just a new chapter for me. It's kind of the start of a whole new version of me that I've been working on for almost 2 years now. So I was very excited for it to be officially released.
Tell me how this one came to life. I mean, it's got over 30 million and counting on several viral things out there too that you've got, and it's just I know it wasn't a song we had probably talked about this. You weren't planning to release kind of right away, but it really came to life, and there's a lot of important messages in there that people really need to take to heart.
Yeah, I have shared a little bit of this story on social media, but I had a project really done at fall of last year. I mean, I was ready to kind of start a new chapter with totally different songs and an EP ready to go. And I wrote this song last October on just a regular writing day. We didn't even start with this title, Pretty Good Living. I mean, we started really just having an honest conversation that day about life right now and everything, all the ups and downs that we have going on, raising tiny people. And anyways, this song really just kind of flowed out and kind of surprised us in how much we loved it. And I went home and played it for my husband and Colby. It was his favorite song immediately. And I knew there was something special about it, but I really did not expect when I posted it to take off the way that it did. I mean, that really was unexpected. And it's been really cool to see people connect with it. And I just figured out pretty quickly that it needed to be the first single coming out of my time off, if you will.
Everybody's got to take the time off too. I mean, I had a little one too, just like you said too. Taking care of these little ones is never easy. April 2020, so she's a COVID baby and turning 4 next week. Looking back, it's crazy. How did that change you? Becoming a parent, it always changes you for the better, no doubt. But to do that, work a full-time job, try to get in front of your computer, put music out, raise a little one. You got married. I mean, life kind of took a turn for the better too. But it's hard to kind of balance all that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is, it definitely makes life better. And I mean, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't difficult at times to balance all of that. But as far as my music career, I really initially was unsure. I was 3 months postpartum. I went back to writing. I kind of dove in on this new project, and I was unsure of where all that was going to take me and how I was going to balance. And something just clicked. Becoming a mom and just having my family started that I always wanted to start really just put everything else into perspective for me. And so as difficult as the time management can be and the task management can be, I truly just have never been more clear on what I want to sing about, what I want to talk about, how I want to be as a woman and an artist and all these things. And so it really, for me, has been the best life change. It's been better than I could have imagined. So
I know it wasn't the first time. You'd also had a song go viral. 2020 had a lot of ups and downs, probably more downs than ups for a lot of people too, no doubt, looking back at it. But at
Yeah.
the same time, too, Long Way comes out, does some really cool things, goes viral too. You're kind of getting used to this viral thing, and the numbers climbing, and people really resonating with your music. Because in the end, it's about lyrics, it's about touching somebody, making them feel something they may not have felt before, or getting them through a rough time. But that's the beauty about songs that have great storytelling in them, which yours do.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, not everything is going to go viral. Not everything does go viral. We're kind of in this world where you post and you hope that everything that you ever share will be the it thing, and that's not how it's been for me. There's been an ebb and a flow, and there's been exciting things and disappointing things and everything in between, but I do see it as such a blessing to be able to use TikTok and Instagram to connect and see really what connects with listeners. I mean, that's the only main goal that we're trying to do as artists is get our songs to someone that cares about them, that it might make their day. And social media for me has been the best tool to reaching people without all the gatekeepers and all the
Mhm.
fluff and everything. I mean, like I just said, I had an entire plan for that project that didn't even matter because people just fell in love with this one song. And it's like
Mhm.
that's what matters, not all the things that we plan out in our heads and do. So the viral moments have been really, really special for me, but they don't always happen the way you think they're gonna happen. So
True. I've had a little chronological things that have gone different directions, but when they do hit, they do feel really good. Hey, tell me about this because a lot of the listeners, especially the new markets I'm in Oklahoma, New Mexico, Colorado, for the stations there,
yeah.
may not know the entire Sarahbeth Tate story. I do because I followed it and I've loved you for years. But you were real young when you went from Fort Collins, Colorado, to Nashville, and you got I believe it was a publishing deal at the time, real young. Tell us about that. Walk the listeners through one, how tough this is, and then also two, you kind of just took like all the chips and you cashed them in. You're like, I'm going there. I'm doing this thing called music, knowing how tough this is, and Nashville being a 10-year town. Talk about that story for me.
Yeah, I was I call it beginner's luck because I was a little bit delusional. I was 14. I thought I could run the world. I had this kind of blissful ignorance, and I showed up to Nashville just fully planning on getting a publishing
Hmm.
deal right out of the gate. And ironically, that's exactly what happened. And it really just so I didn't move to Nashville right away. I went back and forth from
Hmm.
Colorado, was writing in Nashville, coming out whenever I could. With my mom and I would drive all the way across Kansas and
Hmm.
Arkansas, and come to Nashville whenever we could. And I moved when I was 17. I graduated high school early and moved as soon as I could to actually officially dive in and be here because I knew if anything was going to happen, I needed to be here and really be ingrained in Nashville and the community here and the writing community, especially. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. You kind of got to just be present to win here.
Hmm. Yeah,
So much
true.
of what I've done since I was 15 years old is just really showing up every day. And there's plenty of disappointing days, but I keep showing up and have just had so many blessings along the way as I do that. And it was scary. I moved when I was 17. I didn't go to
Hmm.
college. I moved into an apartment, had a deal at the time, and just was working multiple side jobs. Actually, I didn't quit any of my side hustles until after my daughter was born. So I'm only
Hmm.
a couple years into being a full-time artist. So that felt really good after all these years to um, be able to just focus on being an artist, being a mom and a wife, and kind of scale back some of my. I was an admin assistant for 7 years at
Hmm.
a wealth management firm, and it's funny. I used to as I was developing as an artist all these years in this 10-year town, I used to feel kind of shy, I guess, about not
Hmm.
wanting to share those parts of the journey because I felt like, oh, well, people won't think I have got it going on if I share all the parts of the journey that are hard. And tying back to Pretty Good Living a little bit, I mean, my biggest lesson has just been, hey, we're all in this boat of having these hard times, having weeks where we're just barely getting through the week. And I think the more that we're honest about those things, the easier everybody connects and feels like we're in it together.
Yeah, if you don't talk about it, nobody will ever know. And I don't know too many people that are psychic out there too. I'm not one of them, but I can tell you that when it comes down to really need somebody to listen to you, what better way to have best friends and family and people like that you can really confide in and put your trust into, and really, bring the best out of somebody too, because we're all in this fight together till we're not anymore. I want to ask you about this because I remember this was probably a couple of years ago that 2022. So I know it's been a minute since we talked, but
Yeah.
American Idol came. You were on the show, and I not forgotten. I just kind of remember today when I was going through some stuff. But tell us about that experience, and I'm thinking back to like who won that year and who was on it in 2022, and I'm like, man, I'm still into 2024, like this moment right now. But can you believe that's been almost 2 years old now?
I cannot. It's really surreal to think back to that. That Idol experience kind of feels like yesterday, but it's one of the coolest things as far as getting to kind of check that off my bucket list. I mean, everybody. You go home for Thanksgiving and everybody's like, well, when are you going to try out? You can be on the CMAs, and everybody's like, well, have you done American Idol yet? So it was one of those things. It was a long time coming. I had never tried out for a show before, any of the shows. It was my first time auditioning. And I loved getting to walk through that experience. And I have so much more appreciation for everybody who does the shows and wins the shows. It's like the format is so tough. And it's truly the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done. I was not prepared for how intense it was. I mean, the cameras and the celebrity judges, I mean, who's like not nervous singing for Katy Perry? I mean, it was so difficult, and I really got to step out of my comfort zone in that way. And it's no secret if you listen to my music, I'm not a big belter. I don't have a Carrie Underwood, Martina McBride voice where I'm belting a lot. And so I had some of these insecurities going into that experience that I kind of got to prove to myself, that I could do it. I made it to the second round of Hollywood Week, and then I went home after duets. So it felt good to kind of see how I could do with that. But yeah, it was tough. It was really tough.
A competition can make or break you. And I always say that a lot of people have come off that show and have come on here and talked to me, and they're like, Brandon, that real work begins when you get off a show like that, because you go through the different rounds. It is a grind. You've got themed weeks. You've got wardrobe choices. You got song choice. You got coaches meetings. You got rehearsals. I mean, are just pulling you in one direction or another. And, a lot of people sacrifice so much to sign some things away when they partake in a competition like that too, or at least I've been told with stuff like that, because it's not easy, one, to get into, and two, you've got to release a lot of personal stuff and videos and things like that. And, tell that story, which is never easy too. But I want to ask you about one that you put out, because I always say this about your music, because of the lifestyle you live and, being a parent and doing this full time, a lot of fans resonate with your music, and I can see why, because you're always busy. But I remember For My Own Good EP came out 2022. I love that one. So touch on some highlights there, and then kind of get into it for a little bit to Right on Time.
Yeah, that was a really big year for me. I kind of right as I started releasing For My Own Good, and I think it was actually the day after I did a photo shoot for My Own Good to get all the promo stuff done. The day after that, I found out I was pregnant. And it's the best surprise of my life. But it was definitely a surprise. And so that project for me, I always look back and have really good memories, because as I was promoting that, I was also having just the most exciting year of my life as far as starting our family. So it was all really, really happy, for positive memories for me. And some of my favorite songs are on that project. I had saved up those songs for a long time, and felt so good to get to release those. And then Right on Time was my last single before I had Isla, and that was really special to get to do that kind of right before I had her, and went into this season of kind of going back into the creative hole, and not releasing anything after all this time. So
No doubt. Well, we got a lot to talk about too, include some other singles that I put on my list. I said we're going to talk to Sarahbeth about this. Make sure we touch on that too. And of course, I'm already overpaying bills at the station. Don't get mad at me, but I get lost in the conversation. That's what happens when you're doing some great shows like this too, and touching on all the topics that you got to touch on too as well. Again, we'll come right back. KKTC True Country 99.9 and our friends at HighTideCountry.net. But first up, we got to talk some jewelry. And if you're wanting that perfect gift, I mentioned Valentine's Day. Now we're several weeks past that too. Spouse, friend, family member jewelry by Tommy has got you covered. Our friend Tom Burley, email burleysystem@yahoo.com today to order. It's handcrafted, handmade. It's jewelry by Tommy. Quick word from our other sponsors. Stay tuned. More with Sarahbeth Taite coming up here. KKTC True Country 99.9 and our friends at HighTideCountry.net, and powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com. Stay tuned.
The bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Ever thought about owning your own business? Tanya Lapsley-Cockett did. She decided a little over 5 years ago that she was going to be an entrepreneur, so she started her travel business. Tanya is married and works a full-time job. Her business has given her amazing opportunities. Not only does she get to help people create memories by booking their vacations, sporting and entertainment tickets, rental cars, etc., but it has also allowed her to help other families create legacy income. The travel industry is extremely lucrative and is an $8 trillion industry. The travel industry is projected to earn in excess of $15 trillion over the next 10 years. The travel industry pays its professionals up to 70 to 80% commission on the travel that they book for themselves and their clients. As a travel business owner, Tanya books travel and teaches others how to own and operate their own travel business. She is a director in training on the marketing side of her business, where she has helped over 90 families start their own businesses. If you're interested in owning your own travel business, please contact Tanya at 917-743-1199 or at ladytlc3555@me.com.
The Kate Gordon Show, today's best country mix, is a 2-hour show playing independent and mainstream country music you know and love. Be sure to check it out at thekategordonshow.com for more information on the show.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here, Sarahbeth Taite on the Backstage Pass, KKTC True Country 99.9. Of course, another artist spotlight interview coming up tomorrow. You got to tune in the morning about 8 o'clock Mountain Time to figure out who it is. And it's a name that's pretty synonymous in the media right now. I can tell you she's on The Voice. We're going to be spotlighting her next week. And, of course, Sam Banks, Olivia Penalva coming up. And next week, the legend Barbara Fairchild right here on the Backstage Pass. Some new projects we'll talk to Barbara about too. Hey, speaking of projects, I remember this music like it was yesterday since we last talked. Boy and Cowboy. Let's relive that one a little bit.
Yeah. So fun. That still is one of my favorite songs. It's so fun. And yeah, we wrote that. That was a COVID co-write. I think I wrote that sitting on a front porch trying to be outside instead of inside one of those days. And I thought it was so fun that, you know, everybody's talking about this like dream cowboy that they want to be with. And I had definitely had a few exes that did not fall in the category of being a good cowboy. So we had so much fun with that song, and I love listening back to it.
Got to go back to another one that was high on my list when it came out. Mother's Daughter. That is just, of course, I can really feel it now. But on the dad's side, when I played it for my significant other, she went, "Yeah, I get the meaning of that one too. Now that I'm a mom." Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and it's so funny how things change and songs mean different things to you at different times. Because I wrote that years ago, long before I was a mom, and wrote that about my own mom, and it was so beautiful that was already part of my plan to release that song. And it was coming out on the project in 2022 before I even knew I was pregnant, and just kind of by the time that release date came, it was just so fitting and so beautiful and so perfect as I was getting ready to have a daughter. So sometimes God just works like that.
What if we go back even further now? This might stretch our minds a little bit, but Take Me Home.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites you put out too.
I think Take Me Home was the next single after Long Way. Maybe the next one of the couple right after Long Way. And that season of my life was so much fun after gaining all these new fans and friends on TikTok in 2020. It was so fun that really was when I first started consistently releasing music independently and sharing some of these songs that I'd had in my hip pocket for so long. And it was a very exciting time, and Take Me Home definitely fits into that.
No doubt too. And I remember one of my favorite summer jams. You probably know what I'm gonna ask about here when it comes out too, because I love it because it just really took you on a ride. But it was the one that's Summer After Summer from Sarahbeth Taite. I love that one too. Tell people that may not have heard that one, a little bit old school too. Yeah.
It's so funny, that song. We released that song in September, maybe. Like it was not even prime summer release that I put that out, and it was still worth it. I was like, we've got to do it. It doesn't matter that it's not necessarily summer anymore. We gotta get it out. Yeah. You can keep listening to it summer after summer. There you go.
Summer after summer. Just keep tuning in, listening to it too. Hey, with 2024 already optioned, I mean, the end of the first quarter is coming up this week. Hard to believe Easter's here. The second quarter of the year. What can fans expect for now? We talk about Pretty Good Living, but also more music coming up on the horizon for a big year for you. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I just have so much music coming. I like I said, I went back to writing about 3 months after I had Isla. Beginning of 2023, I dove in with some new co-writers and some new producers. Everything just kind of started happening out of nowhere, as things do. And in 2023, while I was seemingly taking time off, I was actually writing some of my favorite songs and going into the studio to produce those in a way that I've never done before. And so all of this time has just been building up to getting to have these songs come out. And Pretty Good Living really is just the first of many. And I think anybody who really loves Pretty Good Living, I think that song was just kind of a really true statement of the feeling that this whole new project is going to bring. And so it was so beautiful that it worked out to be the first song that everybody fell in love with and to get added to the project, because it really does kind of explain everywhere that I'm going from here. So really excited to share the next songs and get out there and start playing the new songs live and really see where all this goes.
It's going to go, no doubt. I'm looking forward to that too. With this single, music video plans for Pretty Good Living?
Yeah, it's out.
It's out. Okay.
Yep. We did put one out, and we've got that. It came out a couple weeks after the release date, and it really is. It's so funny. It's like a family home video, basically. I selfishly say that I wanted the video done just to really, even for myself, just to look back
Mm-hmm.
and this moment in this year, because I know even just a few years from now, we're going to look back and want some of these days back. So the video is really just a sweet little capture of where we're at right now. So
I get to take you back a little bit further. When I first learned about you, a lot of the listeners are going, "You keep all this together." I'm like, we just got a format here we're following too. But she had an EP out that I loved a lot. And people say it's almost 10 years old now, but 2016 comes around and this EP called Enough comes out. Do you get asked a lot about that lately? If not, so give me some of the best memories of that one too, because that's still some of my favorite Sarahbeth Taite music out there.
Oh, thank you. You know, it's funny. I listen back and hear so much in my voice and different things that needed to grow at the time. And you know, I can't remember how old I was then, but you hear your voice and you're just like, oh, I wish I could re-sing these, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that really was a launching pad for me. And it is funny now. I mean, anybody who's listening to any of the newer songs, I always am getting messages like, oh, I'm diving back in and I'm listening to Thick Skin and Enough and all these songs that really started everything for me. He Loves Me is one that I get messaged about a lot. And, you know, it's easy as an artist to just kind of move on. You know, in your mind, you're just always trying to do the next thing and always trying to get better. And that's a must. I mean, we have to do that. But it is really special to hear people still, all these years later, connecting with these songs. And it's a great reminder that everything that we're releasing and putting out and sending out into the world is reaching people at different times and coming back to us later to, you know, stick around. So
I love it too. That's the beauty of the music out there too. The evolution of putting out more albums and more stuff, and musicians never rest on their laurels. I say that here a lot of times with the program, and it's always good to go back and listen to not just one song, but a little bit of everything too as well. And you and I, we covered some ground today too. We got one more segment coming up here in a little bit on the Backstage Pass. Again, pretty good living across all those streaming platforms. Show her some love on social media and, of course, everywhere out there too. For the great Sarahbeth Taite. Quick timeout. Last one here. Coming back. Rapid fire. If you're looking for that jewelry too, again, spouse, friend, family member, jewelry by Tommy. Tom Burley's got you covered. Email burleysystem@yahoo.com today to order. It's affordable. It's handcrafted, handmade. It's jewelry by Tommy, our friend Tom Burley. Coming back. Final segment. Rapid fire coming up. Sarahbeth Taite here on the program. The Backstage Pass, KKTC True Country 99.9 and our friends at hightidecountry.net. Stay tuned.
Ever thought about owning your own business? Tanya Lapsley-Cockett did. She decided a little over 5 years ago that she was going to be an entrepreneur, so she started her travel business. Tanya is married and works a full-time job. Her business has given her amazing opportunities. Not only does she get to help people create memories by booking their vacations, sporting and entertainment tickets, rental cars, etc., but it has also allowed her to help other families create legacy income. The travel industry is extremely lucrative and is an $8 trillion industry. The travel industry is projected to earn in excess of $15 trillion over the next 10 years. The travel industry pays its professionals up to 70 to 80% commission on the travel that they book for themselves and their clients. As a travel business owner, Tanya books travel and teaches others how to own and operate their own travel business. She is a director in training on the marketing side of her business, where she has helped over 90 families start their own businesses. If you're interested in owning your own travel business, please contact Tanya at 917-743-1199 or at ladytlc3555@me.com.
The Kate and Gordon Show is a 2-hour show playing the best in country music. So check it out at theKateandGordonShow.com. Again, that is theKateandGordonShow.com.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And, of course, new time slot coming up on KKTC over the next few weeks. Prime time. You listen to the show 5 days a week, and, of course, weekends out there. So I guess hence 7 days a week, too. Prime time on the weekdays, and, of course, the weekend, too. About the same time slot right there, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And, of course, a new time slot we'll get to announce coming up here over the next few weeks in Taos, New Mexico, and up into Colorado. We got to play some good music this morning, including the lovely Sarahbeth Taite's Pretty Good Living out there, too. And to feature some great artists. Tomorrow, another artist spotlight interview. Tomorrow, and tune in to find out who it is. 8 o'clock, LMNOC, the app, and, of course, out there, KKTC, True Country, 99.9, and our friends at hightidecountry.net, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. All right, I'm excited. Look, baseball season starting tomorrow. I love this time of year for MLB. You got March Madness, Sweet 16. NFL's going crazy. I've done a few sports shows and talked about that, too. Do you or did you ever play anything in high school sports-wise?
Did not.
You did not?
You're talking to maybe the least athletic country music artist in the business. I was not about it. I was a sideline kind of girl.
Okay.
Like from the time I was tiny. I mean, I was just out. So I was
family
piano and
yeah.
I quit gymnastics because I was too scared. So I was.
Hey, at least you did. You attempted gymnastics. That is hard. I've had people say to sign up for that is one of those, not for the faint-hearted. That is a tough sport to do out there, too. So gymnastics would cover it, too. Now, your husband, is he a sports fan in general? Does he watch NFL, baseball?
He's maybe the biggest sports fan of all time. So he is a Kentucky sports fan. He's a wounded Kentucky sports fan currently.
Yeah.
My house has been very different since the first game of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. I did not expect Oakland to do what they did. The Oakland Golden Grizzlies to walk in there, too, on a neutral site and take out the number 3 seed Kentucky Wildcats. That wound is not going to heal for a while. Although they did say when it made headlines yesterday, one of my buddies had texted me, my buddy J.D. Shelburne, he had texted me, too. He says, I said, Calipari's back for another year, the head coach for the Wildcats. And I was like, well, yeah, but he's on a short leash right now. You can't go 1-4 and lose to these unknown schools.
Yeah, next year's going to be interesting for sure. I think next year will be very telling as to where that goes. But yeah, we were, I learned, I married into this. I learned that I thought it was going to be fun to watch Kentucky sports, and I realized that we do not have fun watching Kentucky sports. We're miserable watching, and then if we win, we're relieved. We're not happy. We're just relieved. So, and then at a loss like that, we're like clinically depressed. So it was rough. But yeah, I'm learning. I'm wearing. Now I just I'm a Wildcat by default now, and wearing all my blue and.
It's all good. You're the second person that is
indoctrinated. So
indoctrinated into that.
Yeah.
Which is good there. All right. Hey, when you first took the microphone at any age of your music career, what did you sing? What song came out behind the microphone?
Oh my gosh. I think it was a middle school talent show. Okay. And I don't remember the song. I don't remember the songs. They were, a lot of what I started singing was my own songs initially. I was writing so early on that it was a lot of terrible original songs along with my music favorites. So.
It's hard to remember those things, no doubt. As far as food goes, I know I went to Nashville. I finally had my Hattie B's, and if they say if you're going to do hot chicken right, don't get the mild, get the medium. And people say Party Foul and Prince's, and they've got their own personal connection to it. I will say Hattie B's more than delivered for me. When you're in the mood for hot chicken, where do you go?
Listen, I'm not trying to fail these questions, but I am also not a chicken girl. I can't get behind it. I don't get I love just fried chicken, but I don't need it to be hot. And
I'm with you. Well, that's yeah. I went with a friend, a meeting, and I was like, I got to give it a shot. And they said, well, Brandon, you got to start at medium and work your way up. And medium was just like, nope, I'm not working my way up. Medium was like line drawn in the sand. I'm done. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I started, two
Mhm.
grades down from that. And I just never, I don't feel the need to try medium. I just don't.
Hey, if you don't, no pun intended too.
Yeah.
Jan tunes in. She says, yeah, I was brave trying the medium. Laugh at me, Jan. I know. I just love her. She's over in Australia. As long as you're supporting music, if you support his sports, I agree with that too as well. And also, David, it's just pretty cool. I love the audience in Australia and England too when they tune into over there too. The power of radio. For watching from Cumbria in England, David says, any songs you enjoy singing on the guitar? All right, good question.
Yeah. All of the new music has been fun to get to play, and excited to start playing it more live out and seeing everybody's faces in person. Really, anything country is the answer to that, though.
Anything country out there too is a good thing. Well, I'll tell you, she's more than country. She's a superstar out there too, from Fort Collins, Colorado, all the way to Nashville, Tennessee. Hey, congrats on the ride, the new baby. It's just going to take off for you and go to the moon and then come back to this female movement is so empowering right now to watch what Lainey and these ladies are doing. You're right there with it. And congratulations on the single, Pretty Good Living, across all those streaming platforms. Make sure you guys go download, stream, get those numbers up, get a little mailbox money sent her way too, which is good. And hey, come back here anytime. I always love chatting with you. You're one of my favorites, and I can't wait till the new music and projects come out, and would love to have you come back.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you taking the time and diving into the music. It's so fun getting to talk, and yeah, can't wait I have lots more coming. So hopefully we'll be back here again soon.
We'll do it again. Sarahbeth Taite here on the Backstage Pass. Thanks to our sponsors, of course, tomorrow. Sam Banks, Olivia Penalva on the show, too. We'll wrap it up. Happy Easter to everybody out there. We'll take Friday and Monday off, April Fool's Day. So hope you don't get fooled by whatever joke somebody plays on you, too, as well. If you do, then, hey, like I said, don't say I didn't warn you. It always happens to me on that day, too. They'll always say something, and then, of course, try to keep it in perspective that April Fool's comes up too as well. But I don't want any jokes this year. We're just doing a radio show out there too. Thanks to our friends over there too. HighTideCountry.net, KKTC True Country 99.9, and always powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. Go on there right now. We got some predictions for the Sweet 16 and a whole lot more coming up for March Madness. The Astros season kicking off. MLB 2024 starts tomorrow. And while you're at it, listen to Pretty Good Living and watch a little baseball coming up tomorrow too with your team playing across nationwide. We'll see you soon. Take care.